At first, there was a strange quiet in the solar wind, the kind of subtle anomaly that follows data too strange for immediate dismissal, yet too consistent to ignore. Instruments aligned across the solar system began to register something unexpected around the interstellar traveler known as 3I Atlas, a comet whose path through our solar neighborhood should have been a smooth, predictable curve, drawn solely by gravity's patient, universal hand. Instead of that expected Keplerian rhythm, tiny but certain deviations in its celestial trajectory began to accumulate. Shifts that showed the object had started to accelerate in ways that its known mass alone could never account for. The initial magnetic readings, recorded by spacecraft operating millions of miles apart, were the most compelling contradiction of the established narrative, refusing to fit the familiar, inert profile of a simple frozen world passing by. As massive solar storms rolled outward from the sun, their violent plasma struck the object, and where rapid erosion was the conventional expectation, the comet seemed to respond with its own measurable electromagnetic pressure. The strength of the magnetic field near its core surged dramatically, multiplying from the usual background density of 45 to 50 nanoteslas to nearly 300 immediately after impact. A six-fold increase that rewrote the physics of the encounter. That rapid and sustained spike was not merely electronic noise or instrument error. It was a signature of order operating on a different, previously unrecognized scale. A profound signal that truth could escape bureaucratic control and exist sovereignly beyond the confines of pre-approved theoretical models. The clear correlation between the object's speed increase and the simultaneous drop in nearby particle density offered a moment of clarity, forcing immediate explanation and framing the initial moments of observation with intense professional curiosity. Curiosity, Domain A, Discovery Mechanics. The meticulous recorders quickly measured the profound compression in the magnetic field surrounding the nucleus, an electromagnetic boundary forming with decisive strength where the thin gases and trace dust of the comet met the sheer kinetic force of the solar wind. In those moments of intense external pressure, an astonishing structure emerged, delicate in its composition yet forcefully defined, behaving as though the comet carried its own autonomous form of defense against the star's relentless assault. Scientists tentatively termed it a magnetic shield, a camouflage of sorts, a distinct and measurable region where magnetic force wrapped around the core matter and actively repelled the intrusion of external plasma.
Before we get to that, I need your help. I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I need your help. So I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and help me out.
Observatories tracking the subtle non-gravitational acceleration confirmed the persistence of these deviations in motion. Minute shifts in the comet's path that could not be explained by the simple, well-understood mechanics of vaporizing ice jets, introducing an immediate moment of doubt into the reigning cometary models. Even as the institutions released their guarded summaries, careful, mathematically exact, and utterly avoiding embellishment, their excessively cautious tone betrayed the depth of their internal surprise and validated the years of skeptical vigilance held by independent observers. Between the precisely measured lines of the technical language, a quiet, almost reluctant recognition formed that something fundamentally different, something dynamically active, was taking place in this interstellar wanderer. The fact that the observed magnetic field seemed partly its own, generated or at least sustained by the object itself, rather than merely shaped by external currents, unsettled those who had long assumed inertness and passivity beyond the gravitational domain of large planets. That initial, widespread confusion among the official bodies proved an honest integrity, demonstrating that misunderstanding the sheer power of the cosmos is often the most genuine and truthful response. Doubt, Domain B, Institutional response. The sustained nature of the measurements, repeated and cross-validated across multiple instruments and distinct observational sites, yielded the exact same elevated field intensity, an unquestionable sign of physical coherence that spoke with undeniable calm authority. Around the interstellar nucleus, the magnetic tension grew remarkably dense, the boundary surrounding the core becoming far sharper than conventional cometary theory had prepared for, immediately requiring physicists to incorporate new, profound variables into their working equations and simulations. Every solar coronal mass ejection that crossed the object's path did not simply batter it. Instead, it seemed to add energy to the process, forcing the plasma and dust into a compressed electromagnetic equilibrium. The comet's observed response was not the expected collapse under the ceaseless assault of the sun, but a dynamic, active reconfiguration, an instantaneous and beautiful physical mechanism that produced both the internal magnetic field and the subsequent measured motive force. As the internal ice turned to gas, jets of vapor expanded outward, carrying charged particles that interacted with extraordinary power with the magnetic field lines streaming from the sun. Where these colossal opposing forces met, energetic boundaries formed, trapping magnetic energy near the surface in a sophisticated self-reinforcing current loop. This resulting self-contained field then acted upon the comet's motion, nudging it precisely and producing the non-gravitational acceleration detectable across millions of kilometers of space. This undeniable physical reality demonstrated with quiet elegance that the cosmos operates in profound structured continuity, not in chaos, powerfully calming the old, deep human fear of disorder with the sheer self-sustaining order of nature's complexity. Revelation, Domain C, Physical explanation. Amid this colossal magnetic theater, the probes tracking non-gravitational acceleration provided the essential verification, confirming that the force of magnetism had done measurable, undeniable work upon movement itself. The observational instruments, utterly without agenda, produced outputs that aligned perfectly with the long-held suspicions of those who doubted the scripted simplicity of the conventional models and the predictable curve of gravity's complete dominion.
Before we get to that, I need your help. I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I need your help. So I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and help me out.
These accelerations were not grand, chaotic displacements, but highly precise, sustained adjustments, the kind of shifts that testify to active, intrinsic forces rather than the inert, passive nature of mere cosmic debris. Observers who had endured years of institutional dismissal or quiet ridicule felt profoundly vindicated by the sheer, stubborn consistency of these newly arrived measurements. A visceral confirmation that intuition, when diligently coupled with scientific vigilance and patient observation, can ultimately triumph over the short-sightedness of intellectual arrogance. The comet's measured acceleration was not an act of cosmological rebellion, but an act of physical restoration, a measurable return to an honest complexity long filtered and simplified from the official public view, fulfilling a quiet promise of truth to the watchful, skeptical eye. The descriptive phrase, compressed magnetic environment, thus became both an exact technical description and a powerful moral symbol. Compression not only of the field lines, but of the very certainty that had governed established physics, proving that humility, not institutional pride, is the essential virtue that allows science to bend toward the greater truth. This elegant near miss with conventional science, where the initial data almost vanished into the realm of error, but was confirmed by the stunning correlation across multiple domains, provided a deep, satisfying reward rooted in moral dynamics, the small truth surviving the great weight of dogma. Recalibration, Domain D, human response. At the same moment that the magnetic data stabilized, highly sensitive spectrometers found entirely new traces in the gas cloud surrounding the cometary core, lending a rich chemical portrait to the electromagnetic phenomenon. Distinct atomic nickel and hydrogen cyanide joined the complex spectroscopic story, their unique emissions intertwining with the familiar signatures of dust and plasma, illustrating in stunning detail how the magnetic shield influenced the object's deep chemistry as powerfully as it influenced its orbital motion. Further meticulous analysis of the light revealed an abnormally high ratio of nickel to iron in the escaping materials, with the nickel emissions concentrated precisely near the nucleus, suggesting unique and powerful metallic processes occurring beneath the surface layer. These complex molecules, forged and sustained in energetic extremes, demonstrated that protection and profound transformation are not opposing forces but coexisting realities. A boundary meant to repel external assault could also become the very condition for internal creation. Such physics requires no hyperbole or emotional embellishment. Its inherent elegance speaks in absolute precision and measurable values, offering a profound philosophical reflection on meaning, adaptation, and permanence across the vast cosmic scale. To recognize a self-sustaining magnetic shield around an ancient traveler is to acknowledge adaptation and resilience as a fundamental, pervasive law of existence, embodying a survival pattern mirrored in all forms of life and inquiry. The universe delivered a quiet, beautiful, poetic justice. Arrogance was corrected not by decree but by simple observation, with nature itself, rather than any human ideology, restoring the perfect balance through measurable spectral lines and indisputable nanotesla values. The sheer volume of converging evidence, arriving in contrast to the early institutional data silence, created a powerful moment of scarcity contrasted with a flood of decisive evidence, bringing a deep reflective serenity to the observers. Serenity, Domain E, philosophical reflection. The institutional voices, long accustomed to speaking with rigid, inherited confidence, began a crucial, quiet evolution, their initial reluctance giving way to a cautious yet complete acknowledgement that some cometary behavior remains genuinely unexplained by the established paradigms. NASA, the European Space Agency, and dozens of independent research groups echoed similar careful phrasing, remarkable, unusual, in need of significant further study, laying precision and measurable fact over a necessary foundation of newly acquired humility. This subtle yet profound shift from an entrenched position of authority to a shared moment of curiosity, from intellectual control to profound wonder, marked a vital sign of progress, proving to the watchful audience that admitting scientific uncertainty becomes a profound act of strength, not weakness. Understanding this miniature dynamic magnetosphere has immediate and far-reaching long-term implications, capable of informing the design of protection systems for future deep space missions, and fundamentally redefining how human probes must be built to survive massive solar storms or intense interstellar dust. What began as an astronomical anomaly promises to deliver practical wisdom and enduring technical foresight, forming an essential bridge between pure curiosity and critical application, thereby reshaping science and culture by refining our models for both natural and artificial bodies traveling through space. For the seasoned observers who keep their telescopes pointed skyward, this event felt like a profound restoration of balance. a vital realization that the cosmos maintains its precise, unyielding tempo regardless of human confusion or short-lived dogma, inviting identity binding with those few who are patient enough to see clearly. The moral resonance of the discovery was quiet, but entirely unmistakable. Humility precedes all genuine discovery, and dynamic resilience is the great, undeniable law of cosmic existence, confirming that the boundaries in space are fluid and energetic, never static or passive. Perspective, Domain F, long-term implication. As the stream of confirming data finally settled into the archive, the object itself continued steadily on its path, receding from the fiery influence of the sun, its magnetic shield easing its intensity with the increase in astronomical distance. Instruments detected the relaxation of the field strength, returning toward the prior, fainter, ambient levels of the background space, yet the unalterable record of its power remained secured. 3I Atlas had revealed that even a passing fragment of interstellar matter, small and seemingly insignificant, could momentarily resist the might of a star and generate its own sphere of influence, teaching coherence and self-preservation rather than mere passive yielding to stellar forces. As the intense magnetic field relaxed to its prior state, diffusion replaced the sharp, protective compression, and the luminous glow of the inner coma faded back into the normal spectra of a cooling comet. The unified findings tied together two previously isolated phenomena into one single, consistent physical picture. The reduced particle density observed near the core and the unexpected increase in speed were both joint, measurable results of the exact same energetic magnetic process. The coherence of the massive magnetic spike, the evidence of the compressed magnetic environment, and the persistence of the non-gravitational acceleration, all aligned in silent, irrefutable agreement, offering immense emotional relief after the intellectual tension of initial doubt and institutional resistance. This synthesis of divergent observations united skeptical and conventional views alike under one patient, verifiable truth that nature is consistently sufficient to explain its own brilliance, and its most complex structures are rooted in continuous, measurable laws. In grasping that singular, vital fact, observers felt a profound blend of awe and deep calm, a visceral realization that power and fragility coexist in a state of perfect, measurable equilibrium. The initial questions yielded to a greater understanding, one that replaces transient anxiety with an enduring clarity about the operational physics of the universe. Curiosity, Domain A, Discovery Mechanics. The meticulous attention to detail during the peak observation period brought forth even finer points of the comet's dynamic interaction with the solar environment. The analysis of the faint, almost imperceptible tail showed evidence of plasma instabilities within the magnetic sheath, proving that the shielding mechanism was not perfectly smooth or simple, but a highly dynamic, turbulent system of active forces in flux. Computational models are now being run against the raw data, attempting to simulate the exact geometry of the field lines that momentarily protected the core, confirming the necessity of a sustained electrical current loop that defied the simple vaporization hypothesis. This ongoing work, focused on replicating the event, shows that the institutional path forward is one of integration, where the new, complex data must be reconciled with the old, simpler equations. The need for a systemic overhaul of the textbook definitions of cometary behavior has become a quiet, acknowledged imperative, a testament to the persistent power of raw observation to correct inherited theoretical structures. This deep analytical work provides a sustained sense of satisfaction, knowing that the community of patient observers belongs to the select group who forced the recalibration of official science, achieving identity binding through shared intellectual vigilance. The physical domain of the comet is now being understood as a complex magneto-hydrodynamic system, not merely a dirty snowball, an elevation of its status in the cosmic hierarchy that rewards the long-held intuition of complexity over simplicity. Doubt, Domain B, Institutional Response. As 3I Atlas continued to move outward, losing the solar energy that initially powered its protective field, the focus shifted to the long-term history of the object, using trajectory analysis to deduce its origin. Its hyperbolic path confirmed its interstellar heritage, meaning the magnetic anomaly witnessed was not a localized event, but potentially a recurring state for such cosmic wanderers when they encounter the powerful magnetospheres of stars. The implications ripple backward through the history of astronomy, suggesting that the initial, fleeting observations of similar past comets might have missed this crucial component entirely, having relied too heavily on the gravitational framework. The realization that previous generations of scientists may have unknowingly filtered out or dismissed similar magnetic signatures is not a cause for accusation, but a sobering philosophical reflection on the inherent limitations of any scientific epoch. It proves that new instrumentation and deeper patience are always required to peel back the successive layers of reality. The presence of the high nickel-to-iron ratio, a chemical marker of its original stellar environment, now serves as an intrinsic link to its powerful magnetic behavior, suggesting a unified composition that allows for such strong, self-generated field responses. This chemical fingerprint, carried across the gulf of space, confirms that the object arrived fully prepared for adaptation, a silent lesson in cosmic permanence delivered through the language of atomic spectra. Revelation, Domain C, Physical Explanation. The emotional and psychological impact of the discovery continues to unfold, particularly within the community of amateur astronomers and independent analysts who first flagged the trajectory oddities. Their years of facing official dismissal, the pain of being told their vigilance was mere paranoia, has been transformed into a quiet, profound validation. The vindication is not a loud, self-aggrandizing victory, but a steady return to intellectual balance. The raw data proved their doubt was not ignorance, but a rigorous form of integrity. The core of their satisfaction lies in witnessing the arrogance of rigid systems being corrected, not by argument or political pressure, but by the calm, irrefutable testimony of the universe itself. This is the essence of poetic justice, where the observational truth, quiet and undeniable, replaces human ideology and restores the moral order of scientific inquiry. The cosmic scale itself delivered the correction, forcing a necessary recalibration of certainty and replacing fear with the serenity of understanding. The energy of the discovery is now being channeled into open cycles of new research, with a renewed commitment to searching for similar magnetic signatures on other hyperbolic objects. This relief loop, tension giving way to clarity and renewed wonder, is the ultimate reward for their steadfast patience, binding them irrevocably to the few who grasp the true subtlety of the stellar environment. Recalibration, Domain D, Human Response. This newfound understanding of cometary resilience demands a re-examination of solar system formation and the processes that govern the transition of matter between star systems. If magnetic shielding is an inherent quality of some interstellar objects, it profoundly changes our models for how organic molecules and dust are transported across the galaxy, suggesting a much higher rate of successful transfer than previously theorized. The shield acts as a selective filter, protecting volatile elements and complex chemistry from the harsh radiation and plasma, potentially carrying the seeds of one star's life to another. This realization forces a philosophical step back, acknowledging the sheer volume of material moving through the galactic plane, shielded and protected by its own ingenuity. The scale of this realization humbles human knowledge, confirming that certainty is always temporary and that the true measure of scientific advancement is its capacity to admit the existence of phenomena beyond its current scope. This perspective shift elevates the importance of every single piece of data, reinforcing the moral conviction that every observer, regardless of institutional standing, holds the potential to reveal a fundamental truth. The cosmos, in its impartiality, constantly offers these small lessons in modesty, demonstrating that resilience is an active, elegant principle woven into the fabric of space. Serenity, Domain E, Philosophical Reflection. Looking forward, the long-term implication of this discovery extends directly into the realm of deep space engineering and the future of human exploration. The concept of the camouflage is already being studied by propulsion and materials engineers, who see in the comet's natural defense a blueprint for advanced spacecraft shielding. To learn how a small, icy body can passively yet dynamically repel stellar plasma offers practical wisdom far beyond the academic. This bridge between curiosity and direct application proves the enduring value of pure research, showing that the pursuit of astronomical truth inevitably yields tangible benefits to culture and technology. Future missions to the outer solar system and beyond will be fundamentally safer and more robust because of the data gathered from 3I Atlas. The study of the comet's behavior is now a mandatory component in the training of astrodynamicists, changing the very pedagogy of space science and ensuring that the next generation of researchers starts from a position of greater humility and systemic complexity. The discovery has effectively redefined the scope of what is possible, ensuring that the object's departure is not an ending, but a powerful commencement for a new era of interstellar physics. This enduring legacy confirms the identity binding of the audience. They are the informed few who witnessed the moment that science was forced to fundamentally recalibrate its expectations. Perspective, Domain F. Long-term implication. The measured silence returns as the object moves into the deeper solar night, carrying its powerful data into the darkness. Now, as it departs, its non-gravitational acceleration, though fainter, persists. A final signature of a mechanism that remains active even far from the sun's direct influence. This continuing gentle nudge forces a final reconsideration of how interstellar matter behaves when exposed to and then released from solar flux. This sustained, slow reversal of the initial acceleration profile rewrites the long-term expectation for its journey, suggesting that the self-generated forces continue to act upon its inertia across vast distances. Whether the magnetic effects are classified as purely natural or not, the object's consistent conduct permanently rewrites expectation and forces a new level of precision in observational physics. The cosmos has corrected a deep-seated pride with the quiet, overwhelming evidence alone, demanding a permanent revision of our solar system's initial census. Ground control anticipates its quiet reappearance in northern sky instruments, where the first resumed images will align its new, adjusted motion with its old, predetermined path. These tiny, measurable differences will continuously expose the remaining mechanisms at work. When objective data speaks so plainly, argument becomes unnecessary and speculation fades. The pursuit is not of fleeting drama, but of profound resolution. Numbers settling into pattern, patterns settling into enduring comprehension. The object moves onward, carrying both a monumental dataset and a lesson in profound humility in its wake. It will inevitably fade from the view of even the most powerful telescopes, but it will never fade from the scientific record. Each subtle photon recorded, each spectral line confirmed, remains immutably stored in the deep archives that outlive all speculation and dogma. The patient observers return to their ordinary duties, their years of unwavering vigilance rewarded not with final answers, but with a deeper, richer coherence. The universe, impartial, magnificent, and enduring, continues its powerful work, and humanity, quietly aware and permanently changed, continues its duty to measure, to question, and to truly learn. Curiosity, Domain A, Discovery Mechanics.